What's up, the squad? Back with another video. I seen the title was going down. Make sure you hit the like button, that subscribe button. Y'all seeing the title. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, y'all.
Let's bring in Jonathan Turley, George Washington University law professor. Professor Turley, the old saying is that bad case makes bad case law. Are we setting up for some really bad case law here?
Well, I think that you've really captured the moment for the justices. They would love this cup to pass from their lips, but they have to drink. They've been avoiding this for decades. You know, they had a case involving civil immunity where they did say that a president needs immunity in order to function, including in those sort of outer, parameters of his office. The question is, does that extend to criminal law, to criminal charges? And what's often been discussed in the media is how extreme the Trump team's arguments are, bringing up SEAL Team 6 and things like that. But the justices may be equally concerned about the extreme nature of the lower court decision, that it leaves a president without protection. So they've got cliffs on both sides. Either they go over one side and a president has no protections at all, or you go over the other side and a president has total protections and can do most anything. There's a good chance that some of these justices are going to want a third option, something more nuanced, where a president has some protection.
The president was, Donald Trump was being interviewed earlier. You saw him out there when he was with the Teamsters in Midtown earlier this morning, and he said, he was asked about this, and he said, if you have a president that can't make decisions because they're fearful that they're going to be caught in a criminal court case, then you just have a ceremonial president. In our country, that doesn't exist in our country.
Yeah, and that is, in fact, the motivating, theme of the Fitzgerald case. When the court last looked at the civil immunity issue and issued that opinion, it said we don't want that chilling effect upon presidents, where they have to constantly wonder if this decision's going to land me in a civil case. The question is, does that apply in criminal cases? And I think the court's going to have a really tough time grappling with this. But there's also practical issues here. Let's say that the court wants a third option, something more nuanced. This is, after all, an incrementalist court. They tend to try to take small steps, not great leaps. If that's the case, the most obvious thing for them to do would be to remand it back to the district court to say, we need you to look more carefully at this record and what here is really related to his office. Where do these questions fall? If they do that, I don't think that they could try the president before the election. And if they don't try the president before the election, Jack Smith may never see a jury in either of these cases.
Trump would have to win, you'd have to think. Meanwhile, let's talk
That's
about
right. That's
talk about the circus in downtown New York City. We know today, we think the judge is...
I'm still sick, by the way, y'all, so I apologize.
...going to rule on what type of, where he's going to go in the gag order. Did the president actually violate the gag order? What kind of penalty he would pay? Let's get that out of the way first. How long will that last?
Well, I think that the judge is likely to find that he did violate the gag order. That's very clear from the earlier hearing. And really, Trump is attacking the gag order itself. He's saying, look, of course, I'll violate this gag order. I'm running for the presidency. And you said I can't even talk about a guy who was on the air every single night, not just talking about this case and his testimony, but talking about how I shouldn't be president. And you're saying I can't respond while I finish the months leading to this presidential election. I think that Merchant is wrong about Michael Cohen. His order was too broad, and he's being stubborn here. So the question is the court going to tack back a little, narrow this order, while also finding him in contempt? I don't think there's any question he's going to find him in contempt.
But you really do.
How I look at it, honestly, y'all, with this whole thing is that they trying their best, y'all, to hush this man up. But no, I'm not 100%. My energy ain't there. I apologize. Please like the video. But I just look at the fact that they trying to hush this man up as much as possible. But it's not working. And by I mean not working, Trump is trying everything that he can. His team is trying everything that he can. But if it all comes down to it, we know how Trump is. We know what Trump can do, you know, for us, you know, for himself, for his, you know, for his team, you know, his administration. But how I look at it is, honestly, Trump don't have to say anything. You know, he doesn't have to sit there and, you know, this is what I'm trying to say. This is, you know, his ongoing campaign. This is what, you know, and it's sad, you know, that they're doing everything they can. This case after case after case, and everybody want to, oh, I'm about to come out and say something about Trump and have him, you know, it's always something. You know, they're trying to knock him down. But like I said, we know, you know, what's going to happen come November. And that's just what it is. That's how I look at it. You know, maybe, you know, everybody else is thinking a little differently. But me personally, I think, I know that, you know, regardless, Trump is, you know, everything gonna be cool. You know, we know how he is. We know what he can do for us. So, let me just keep it at that. You know, keep it at that, and we already know. You know, they can try to hush him up. Don't want him to talk about this. Don't want him defending himself, saying this and saying that. We know what it is. We know what the truth is and what they're trying to do.
Pretty huge constitutional issues here. Whether it's a case in New York, the New York court case where you have a judge telling somebody who's running for president that he can't speak about stuff, or in D.C. in the Supreme Court where you have the judicial branch basically dramatically curtailing the powers of the executive branch. These are like really big constitutional issues, I think.
They are, and you know what? They're related. The interesting thing about today's Supreme Court decision and the Manhattan case is that Alvin Bragg is probably the best lawyer Donald Trump has right now. He's making the case to the Supreme Court that there needs to be an immunity protection because he's the problem. This is exactly what the court was worried about. You've got these Democratic district attorneys clearly politicizing the criminal justice system. The Manhattan case is legally absurd, and it's occurring on the very day that the court is considering how to protect presidents. That cannot but help former President Trump.
And you're even able to say that as a Democrat, right? You still consider yourself a Democrat?
Right. Right. The funny thing is, in the contempt proceedings, one of the things that the former president's being accused of.
Why he laugh? He a Democrat? Am I missing something? Wasn't he on MSNBC, or am I? Maybe that's the wrong person. Was Jonathan Turley on MSNBC? I don't know.
The funny thing is, in the contempt proceedings, one of the things that the former president's being accused of is citing one of my columns. And so I'm used to expressing contempt in opinions, but never an opinion, never a column being an issue of contempt. But
if you're just real quick, David Pecker's on the stand. Karen McDougal is supposed to follow. Can you preview what do you think will happen, and what's the prosecution's approach, and what should the defense be?
Yeah, you know, the fact that they started out with Pecker and McDougal is very telling. You know, this isn't part of the indictment. You know, they're bringing in this earlier alleged affair, and they haven't even got to the main issue, which is dealing with the Stormy Daniels payment. The reason I think that's happening is that they don't have a crime. They're saying we're going to prove all these facts. Well, the facts aren't being contested. Most of these facts are actually accepted by the defense because they're not crimes.
Right.
And so you're going to hear from McDougal. I'm not too sure what she has to offer. Whether or not she had an affair with the former president is completely immaterial to the charges in that courtroom. But the main problem is that this judge is allowing this farce to unfold in his courtroom. We are still debating every night, what's the crime that he was trying to conceal? Right. That's not a good thing when you're in the second week of a criminal case.
Right. Jonathan Turley.
Thanks, Jonathan.
We're going to use up our whole retainer before the end of the show.
You know, it's interesting. And there are two attorneys in the jury pool or in the jury box that are listening to all this. And if he's saying that as an attorney, I wonder what they're thinking.
I'm Steve.
Right. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Is Jonathan Turley? Never mind. I ain't about to start it with that. Let me not start nothing. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe button, though. Definitely. I said what I said, and if y'all skipped over it, shame on you. Make sure y'all watch the whole video. Definitely was, a great video, great discussion that, I needed to hear and, obviously spread out to everybody else and, get my thoughts on it. But definitely appreciate y'all. Much love to y'all. Catch y'all next one.